Many times on the news we hear that by restricting guns, violence levels will decrease, but this is a false statement for many reasons. One of the reasons is because in many countries throughout the world there are strict laws against firearms, but the levels of violence tend to be higher in these places. For example, according to a Boston News article from 2013, Russia has one of the strictest gun control and ban on guns. But this does not mean that Russia has less crime. As a matter of fact, even though with these large and highly enforced gun law, Russia has one of the highest levels of violence and crime in the world. There is much controversy in the United States on whether or not gun control should be put into action. Many times, people say we would be better off if we enforce gun control, but in reality, gun control could cause more trouble than help, and could even affect the government's economy, which we all know isn't doing very well. Now let's discuss why it would be unreasonable to put more laws against guns for the reasons that there are already many laws restricting them, such as the Gun Law of 1968. According to a recent article from JPFO, this law has put large taxes on guns, such as automatic weapons and other high-grade arms, like machine guns, making them much less available and more difficult to obtain by civilians, thus leading to the lessening of circulations into a city. Now another law would be the Brady Bill Law. According to a recent Britannica article, this law called for a 5-day waiting period for the purchase of any gun or rifle, plus a background check from a federal agency in order to be able to purchase a firearm. If any previous crimes such as felonies or misdemeanors come up in the background check, then the gun cannot be purchased by that individual. There is also the assault weapons ban of 2013. According to a recent Senate article, this ban restricts the ownage of military-grade clips and attachments and alterations to any gun. Now that you see that there are already laws that are like gun control and restrict the flow of arms, let's discuss further why gun control could bring a much more negative effect than positive. By restricting guns, we will leave the door open for an organized crime. If guns become even more restricted, this will leave a door open for illegal trafficking of weapons, and citizens would be able to purchase any type of weapons from simple pistols to high-grade belt-fed machine guns that are often used in wars without any background checks or any form of safety. If guns are much harder to obtain legally, people will find alternatives of obtaining weapons to protect themselves, thus leading to the increases in crime and violence, thus resulting in the opposite of what gun control should have done in the beginning. The decrease of gun sales will also affect the economy negatively and largely. The reason being that guns are taxed highly, and gun taxes make up a large portion of taxes yearly. If the gun sales go down, then the government will be losing a large percentage of taxes, thus affecting the economy in a negative way, leaving it in a worse shape than it already was. Now that you have seen the problems that gun restrictions could bring and how the economy could be damaged, I will now show you reasons why citizens should be able to purchase and own guns. Many times public authorities or officers are overwhelmed with calls and cannot and are overwhelmed with duties and calls that they are unable to reach a citizen very quickly when they receive a call of distress. Many times citizens cannot wait for authorities to show up in situations, so they must take actions into their own hands and defend themselves or the people around them from threats. Citizens could protect themselves with a gun. Also, there is the Second Amendment stating that citizens are allowed to bear arms. A 2008 Supreme Court case, District of Columbia versus Heller, the court ruled that the Constitution protects an individual's right to own a gun for personal use, such as recreational use or many times to defend themselves or their family and even fellow citizens. Now you can see that citizens owning guns could potentially save their lives and the lives of people around them. It is also their right to bear their arms. In conclusion, you now see that not only does gun control bring more negatives than positives, you have realized that we already have sufficient laws against the flow of guns. Many times we hear people say, by placing gun control into action, we'll have fewer cases of violence, but that is not true. Many statistics show that placing gun control, there will be more violence. Now ask yourself, is gun control as good as it sounds?